All right, today we're going to dive into a really powerful piece of writing. It gets right to the heart of one of the biggest struggles we all face, that tension between our own vulnerability, our own weakness, and the pride we build up to hide it. This is a journey into what it really means to be strong, to be wise, and, to ultimately find some peace. So, let's get into it.
The text kicks off with this incredibly powerful line. And right away, it's not just a warning, it's like a total reset of our perspective. It forces us to remember that no matter how important or powerful we might think we are, there's a greater power that is truly undefeated. This sets a tone of humility from the very first second. Okay, so the first big idea here is about facing a simple, maybe uncomfortable truth, that at our core, we're all fundamentally weak. It's something we spend so much of our lives trying to paper over, right? But this text argues that actually acknowledging it is the very first step toward any real understanding.
And I just love the way this is phrased. A moment that arrives without permission. Think about that. This isn't a weakness we choose or can schedule. It's this fundamental part of who we are that can just show up. It breaks through all those carefully built walls. It's that sudden feeling of being completely overwhelmed, of not being in control, and in that moment, our true vulnerability is laid bare.
So how do we deal with this feeling? Well, we put on masks. The text describes them so beautifully. We wrap ourselves in garments of power, our job titles, our money, our status. We wear these ornate masks of pride, trying to project this image of being totally unshakable. And we tell ourselves we have all the time in the world to keep this act going. But as we're about to see, these are all just temporary fixes.
So, what happens when we refuse to accept that inherent weakness? Well, we often overcompensate with this really flawed defense mechanism. The text has a name for it: arrogance. And it doesn't see it as just a personality flaw. It frames it as a genuine, destructive disease.
And the definition here is so specific. Arrogance, or al-kibr in the original Arabic, isn't just about thinking you're the best. It's described as an internal poison. It actually corrupts your heart. And, this is crucial, it completely isolates you. It builds these invisible walls between you and everyone else.
Wow, what a metaphor, right? It just captures the feeling perfectly. When you're around someone who is truly, deeply arrogant, you can feel it. There's this discomfort in the air. People don't want to get close. They just instinctively pull back. Your very presence becomes like a storm that everyone else feels they have to escape. It's the ultimate kind of self-inflicted loneliness.
But, thankfully, there's another way. If arrogance is the disease, the text presents humility as the cure. And this is so important. It's not painted as weakness at all. On the contrary, it's described as the very thing that makes wisdom beautiful. It's the ornament of wisdom. And just look at the contrast here. It couldn't be clearer. On one side, you have arrogance, which poisons you, isolates you, and leaves you as just an empty, walking body. But on the other side, humility actually builds connection. It replaces that flimsy illusion of strength with true greatness, which it says is found in bowing before something true.
So, what does this humility actually look like day to day? Well, it's about appreciating the small stuff. It's having the wisdom to just be quiet when your ego is screaming to be heard. And most importantly, it's knowing that real strength is about yielding to what's right. And it's about seeing and valuing the basic shared humanity in every single person you meet.
Now, the text zooms way out. It gives us the ultimate perspective, the great equalizer that makes arrogance look not just silly, but completely absurd. It's going to trace the entire arc of a human life, from the very beginning to the inevitable end. Let's start at the beginning. The text does not pull any punches here. It says our origin is from a small, despised drop. I mean, that's a powerful way to put it. It's this potent reminder of our incredibly humble biological start. No matter who you become, this is where we all came from. Zero exceptions. But then, life happens. And somewhere in the middle of it all, we forget that humble origin. We start building ourselves up, collecting achievements and status, and we begin to believe this illusion that we're somehow permanent, that we'll be here forever. This is the stage where pride really takes root and just grows. And then comes the end. The text calls death the honest truth. And why? Because death doesn't lie. It couldn't care less about your power, your pride, or your whole resume. It just erases it all. It brings every single one of us back to the same state, reminding us that everything we built on that shaky foundation of ego was always going to be temporary.
So after taking us on this whole journey, from our inner weakness to the trap of arrogance, from our humble beginnings to our shared end, The text brings it all home. It ties everything together into one final, crucial lesson on how to actually live a life with meaning and with peace.
And what's so beautiful about this is that the lessons are everywhere. We don't have to go on some epic quest to find them. Nature, with its cycles of birth and decay, is constantly teaching us. Silence gives us a chance to check in with ourselves. Every single day brings a new lesson, and every moment can be like a mirror, reflecting our own pride or our humility right back at us, if we're just willing to look.
And this next thought just puts everything into perspective. The text says we are all, no matter how high we climb, merely passers-by. A president or a janitor, a CEO or a cashier, it makes no difference. All those titles and roles are temporary costumes. We're just visiting. We're all just passing through on the exact same journey.
And so we land here, at the final, powerful conclusion. After everything we've looked at, this is the main takeaway. Real peace isn't found in being powerful, or in being proud, or in puffing yourself up. According to this text, true, lasting inner peace can only be found by walking the path of humility.
So we'll leave you with this to think about. The text argues that true greatness isn't about standing tall and being defiant. It's about the strength to bow to a truth. So the question becomes a really personal one. What is the truth for you? What principle, what value, what reality do you recognize as being bigger and more important than yourself?